So I was sitting here and I wanted to show my partner a photo and on my phone. And I did. And he happened to look through other photos. This is just an example. And it bothered me. And I was like, this is how I come to discovering my own BS, okay? This is my process of self-awareness. So, for example, I wanted to show my partner this this ad on a social media platform, right? I wanted to show him the ad. So I showed him, and while he had my phone in his hand, he decided to scroll. And for some reason, it just bothered me. So when he left, I didn't say anything because actually in the moment, I saw it, but I didn't add any meaning to his action. So it was nothing. Nothing was there. But later, thinking thoughts on his behavior created emotions, because the thoughts that I were having about his behavior were driving emotions that were negative, to be honest. They weren't positive thoughts. And so I was thinking to myself, well, why are you feeling that way? And I realized that, okay, I was feeling insecure about what he might see. And I was feeling insecure about what he might see. And it's not because I have something to hide, but it's because I didn't want to see anyone who looked better than me. I know it's so silly, right? It's like, oh my God, who cares? Like, I'm in my own lane. No one can even look like me. I'm so bomb. And I was like thinking to myself, like, okay, so you had a moment of insecurity. That's all it was. I'm glad that I noticed. Now I can, like, not have those moments, right? And I can just, like, reaffirm my beauty to myself. But I thought to myself, I was like, dang, like, wow. Oh, so I thought to myself, well, isn't it interesting that you weren't bothered at first? It wasn't until you sat and thought. It's not until I created emotions by thinking thoughts that were negative, which created a negative emotion. And I was thinking, what if I weren't self-aware in this moment right now? That means I would have sat up here and thought about these thoughts, and then possibly the next time I ran into my partner during this day, we lived together, so it could have been, let's say, in passing. What if I suddenly have an attitude and I don't even necessarily know why? Because it's not like I was self-aware. I just had thought these thoughts, and I was feeling insecure. And where do you think feelings of insecurity will lead you? They're not going to lead you to running, jumping, and hugging. I'm just saying, if I'm feeling insecure, to be honest, I'm usually feeling like angry, frustrated, disappointed, sad, feelings like that. So then I continued further with my self-awareness process, and I was thinking to myself, wow, I see how I was literally using my partner as an excuse. Do you see? I was using my partner as an excuse to create thoughts that brought about feelings. Now, why would I do that? And I was thinking, is that a part of a program in my mind, that when something happens to watch your partner's behavior and actions and add a meaning to them? How often am I doing that? Like, I just happen to catch myself doing that. I may not do it often, but I don't want to form it as a habit, so I'm being self-aware. I'm watching myself. This is my season right now, and I feel like that should always be a season. I always want to be self-aware in how I'm coming off to others, and even dealing with myself. I want to break any toxic habits that I have. That's where I'm at. So in doing this process this morning, I'm like, wow, I see how I basically used my partner by overanalyzing his behavior as an excuse to feel negative thoughts. And maybe I'm used to feeling negative thoughts. Maybe I'm used to thinking negative thoughts because, like I said, to sit up and get mad at my partner, I was like, why do I have like a tad attitude? Like, why am I feeling this way? Like, well, he shouldn't have done that. Like, I was literally in my head thinking these things. Like, he shouldn't have did that. Why did he do that? And I stopped myself and I said, wait, why? It wasn't a problem when he did it, so why are you feeling that now? Like, I'm questioning myself. Because he's like, my partner's so bomb. I love him. So, like, sometimes I question myself because I'm like, maybe I'm tripping because that's how cool of a dude he is. You see what I'm saying? But imagine for y'all who don't have a cool dude, and you just living your way and thinking your way and being your way, thinking this is the right way because you've been that way for so long, versus analyzing your own behavior. So I took it a step further, and I'm like, okay, so I see how I saw the behavior, I created some thoughts, I felt a feeling, I overanalyzed, and now I'm feeling this way, and I don't like feeling this way. But it's my creation because they're my thoughts. So if I don't want to feel this way, all I have to do is think a new thought, right? And I was thinking, but if that is always the reason, or if that is always the stance, the position that I'm taking, then I could possibly never really be upset with him, because I can always bring it back to me. And how is that fair? That's not holding him accountable. And I went on another rampage of thoughts that were not particularly healthy. And I'm like, well, why are you worried about what he's held accountable? Stay in your own lane. You know, brother, sister, yes, you guys are in a relationship, but cohabitation is cohabitation. When you were growing up with your family members, cohabitating, you know, you didn't try to figure out how I can control this person to make them live the way I want them to live, the way I like to live. No, but everybody lived, right? Everybody cohabitated and coexisted. And that's what I'm saying here. So I was thinking like, well, okay, I feel you. I don't ever have to look at his behaviors, but something about that, I don't like that. That's the ego, because the ego always wants to be justified. It always wants to be right. It always wants to be seen. It always wants to be ha ha he so big. But the soul, who you really are, the suke, the inner man, doesn't need all of that, because the inner man already knows I am that I am. I am. I exist. I am who I am. I don't need anything to validate that, because whether people or things validate who I am, does that change who I am? It does not. And the suke, the inner man, the real you, the true self, the authentic you, truly and genuinely knows that, and it is rooted in that, and it wants to bring that to your awareness in every waking second, so that you are not bound by the constructs of society and external things, but societal like rules and ways, but that you can be yourself and either create new rules and create new ways, or just be you and create your own life. So I said, okay, so that means that I can always be, if I'm in this lane, my lane, looking at myself, looking at my own behavior, and yes, when my partner does something, I don't have to give negative meaning to that behavior. I can inquire about where he was coming from, and I can try to relate. If I see it as crossing a boundary, I can speak to that. If it is not, and it's just a misunderstanding, I can speak to that. But I don't have to create emotions. I don't have to create emotions by formulating thoughts around things that didn't happen. Because basically, I worked myself up over something that didn't happen. Yes, he was scrolling on my page, but all the thoughts that I have about my self-esteem has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with me. I only use the action to affirm how I was already feeling, and the action brought my feelings of insecurity to my awareness, and I need to deal with that versus taking it out on my partner. I hope I'm making sense, and I hope that people are flowing with me. And I realize that it is me in every waking moment, the decisions I'm making, the choices that I'm making, that's creating my life. And if I say that I would like to live a healthier lifestyle, well, what is healthy? Is it healthy to sit and ponder on giving something a meaning that wasn't articulated to me from the person, or even the thing that I'm giving meaning to? Because but no one's gonna do this. But I could go, when you did that, it made me really feel insecure, and I feel like next time don't do that. Is that necessary? Or deal with the insecurity so that you don't have to feel that way, and so that you can be a whole person. And that's how you're always bringing things back to you, so that you can remain whole. Think on those things that are of a good rapport, that are of a good nature. That's somewhere in the Bible. I want to say, I'm not going to guess because I don't want y'all coming for me. But it's in the Bible, and I want to say the New Testament. But the reason why the Bible says that is because what is the point of thinking on those negative things to go start an argument? Because that's where that would have led. If I would have acted on the thoughts that I created, not that him and I had a conversation about it, just some thoughts that I thought in my head. If I would have acted on that, imagine, I would have been coming from a defensive place. And when I'm coming from a defensive place, yes, I can have in my mind that it might draw a positive result, but sometimes when you start negative, you end negative. And when the root is negative, sometimes it is difficult when the root is rotten to bear ripe fruit. You feel me? And that's what I'm saying. Be aware of where you're coming from. Be aware of your own intentions. And start being mindful of who you are in every moment. Taking accountability and exercising self-awareness. Talk on topics.